Hi Primary 2 and welcome to your first maths lesson of the week. Now I know you've been used to Mrs McGibbon doing your maths lessons for the last fortnight, but we've switched roles, so Mrs McGibbon's going to do the literacy lessons for the next few weeks and I'm going to take a turn at doing the maths lessons. So I know that you have learned about length, so you've been finding things that are longer and shorter, and I know that you've been working on weight. So you've been thinking about things that are heavy and things that are light. Today we're going to be working on another type of measurement. Today we're going to be learning about capacity. Capacity. So capacity, boys and girls, it sounds like a bit of a scary word. It probably sounds like a word that you're not familiar with, that you're thinking, I don't know what that is, but I'm going to explain it a bit more just now, okay, and then hopefully it won't be too scary.
Okay, so we're looking at capacity, this word here. So what is capacity? Capacity is the amount that something can hold. So if you look around your house, you will see lots of different kinds of containers. You might see flower pots, plastic tubs, glasses, pots and pans. There'll be loads and loads of different kinds of containers. Now, capacity is different from size. This is where we have to be a little bit careful. A tall, thin container can have a smaller capacity than a small, wide container. So that just means that even if something is taller, if a container is taller, it doesn't always mean it's going to hold more than a smaller container. Look at this example. We've got a tall tube there. Looks like a test tube that you would get in a lab. It's tall, but it's very thin. It's very narrow. Now this cup here is shorter. It's smaller in height, but it's wider. So actually, this cup or this mug here has a bigger capacity. It holds more than this test tube here, even though that test tube is taller. So we have to be a bit careful. Okay, these are the important words that we need to learn when we are talking about capacity. So, full, full. I'm going to click on this, but before I do it, I want you to imagine, just now this cup is empty. What will it look like when it's full? Have a little think about that before I press it. Where's the water going to go up to? It's right at the top, isn't it? Okay, what about this one? Empty. Empty. What's it going to look like? There's no difference, is there? If it's empty, there's nothing in it. There's no water in this container. Half full. Half full. Where do you think the water is going to go up to if it's half full? Let's see. About there. Half empty. Where do you think the water will go up to? Did you notice anything about half full? Look at this. Half full and half empty. It's just the same, boys and girls. If something's half full or half empty, it's the same. It just depends on what you say. You might choose to say a cup is half full. You might choose to say it's half empty. It's the same thing, really. Nearly full. Nearly full. So where do you think the water will go up to if it's nearly full? Let's look. Just a little bit below the top there, wasn't it? Look at that again. There's just a little bit of space left at the top. And this word, these words down here, I know you can't see them, but it says nearly empty. Nearly empty. So it's not completely empty, it's nearly empty, it's almost empty. Probably about there. Probably means you've got about one sip of juice left in your cup if it's nearly empty. Okay, so ordering capacities. Order these objects from smallest to largest capacities. So look at those three things. You've got a bathtub, you've got a glass, and you've got a bucket there. So which one holds the smallest amount? Which one holds the largest amount? Which one has the smallest capacity? Which one has the largest capacity, the biggest capacity? You might want to pause the video and have a little think about that. Okay, ready for the answers? Okay, so the glass has the smallest capacity. It holds the least amount of liquid. Then the bucket would be in the middle. And the bathtub, obviously that holds the most. A bathtub has a huge capacity, so it can hold the largest amount. It says here, Arnie is thirsty. What glass should he use for a drink? So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 options there. Which glass do you think Arnie should use if he's really, really thirsty? If he's really, really thirsty, he's going to need a big drink, isn't he? So you want to choose a container that has quite a big capacity, a container that has the biggest capacity, the largest capacity. So which container there holds the most? I'm going to say it's this glass here. Did you agree? Okay. Should Jared use a cup or a bucket to fill a paddling pool with water? So if he didn't have a hose, what would he be better to use? What would be a smarter container to use? Would it be smarter to use the bucket, or would it be smarter to use the cup here? What one would be more logical? I would definitely suggest Jared uses the bucket. He'd have to make less trips, wouldn't he, if he was using the cup? He'd be there all day trying to fill it up. The cup doesn't have a very big capacity. It doesn't hold very much compared to the bucket. Okay, you might want to pause the video here and draw or find an object with a bigger capacity than this mug. So you might want to go and find something in your house, find a container in your house, or just draw something that has a bigger capacity than that mug. So it holds more, something that holds more than this mug. Okay, hopefully you got on okay with that. Another challenge, draw or find an object with a smaller capacity than a paddling pool. So think how much water a paddling pool can hold. You just need to find something that holds less than that, something with a smaller capacity than a paddling pool. So off you go and find something or draw something now. So did that make sense? Do you think you understand a bit more about the capacity? I'm going to do some little activities now, and you can pause the video and do them with me or do it after the video, whatever suits you. Okay, and that will teach us a little bit more about capacity. Okay, so I am in my kitchen now and I have 5 containers in front of me, 5 glasses, and they each are holding a different amount of liquid. So I want you to look at each glass and then match it to the correct label. So we've got nearly full, nearly empty, full, half full or half empty, and empty. Look at this one first. Can you see the little bit of water on the bottom? I know it's hard to see because it's clear. Can you see it? How would you describe that? Is it nearly full, nearly empty, full, half full or half empty, or empty? What are you going with? I'm going to go with nearly empty. Do you agree? Look at this one. There is no space left. If there was any more water in that, it would be overflowing. The water is right up to the top. This container is filled right up to capacity.
How would we describe that? Full, full, half full or half empty. Remember, they're the same thing really. Or empty. I'm going to go with full. Move that over there. It's full, it's right up to the top there, you can't fit any more. This one is next. Can you see a little bit of space at the top? We could fit a little bit more water in there. There's more than half, isn't there? What would you go with? Empty? Half full or half empty? Or nearly full? I'm going to go with nearly full. Nearly full. So we've got nearly empty, full, nearly full. What do you notice about this one? Can you see how the space that's filled with water is the same amount of space that has nothing in it? Half the container has water in it, half the container doesn't. So that must mean it is half full or half empty, depending on what you want to say. Both are correct. So I'll move that over there. And the last one, left you a nice easy one to finish. Can you see that? There's nothing in it. So what does that mean? How would we describe that? How would we describe the capacity there? It is empty. Empty. So we've got an empty glass, we've got a glass that is half full or half empty, we've got a glass that is nearly full, a glass that's completely full, and a glass that's nearly empty. It's just got a little bit left. Can you do this activity, boys and girls? Find some containers, make your own labels, and match the correct label to the correct container. Now be careful, we don't want water spilling everywhere. Okay, so here I have 3 containers. I have a measuring jug, I have a big mixing bowl, and I have a glass that I used earlier. So 3 different containers that all have different capacities. Okay, so we're thinking about how much each one can hold. So what I want you to do is pause the video and think, which container has the largest capacity? Which one of these containers is going to hold the most? And which container has the smallest capacity? Which one's going to hold the least? But pause the video now. Okay, hopefully you've had a little think about that. I've made up 2 little labels. This one says smallest capacity, largest capacity. So, which container has the smallest capacity? The measuring jug, the big mixing bowl, or the glass? I'm going to say it's the glass. Okay, so I put the glass next to the smallest capacity label. Which one has the largest capacity? So we've got the measuring jug and the mixing bowl. I'm going to say it's the mixing bowl. So I'll put that over here next to that label. And that means the measuring jug comes in between. Can you do that at home? Can you find 3 containers and order them from the smallest capacity, so the one that holds the least, up to the biggest capacity, the largest capacity? That's the container that will hold the most.